We are back on the zoo with someone that I'm a fan of. I've gotten to cover him over the years. He's one of the most influential street artists, not just here in Southern California where he's based, but all over the country, even all over the world. Give it up for Man One.
Yeah.
Welcome.
All right, take us down, Dennis.
All right, Man One, we're going to count to 3 now. 1, 2, 3, and then we're going to say,
So you don't have to explain it anymore. Dennis, just go into it. We've been doing this for over a year and a half now.
He doesn't know. Did you know?
He told me.
Yeah,
See,
I prepare them. I prepare the guests and you go through it.
Okay, perfect. Well,
It's all good.
So Man One's art is amazing, and it's influenced a lot of people. And what I want to talk to you about is, you've seen street art grow exponentially over the past decade, right? I mean, you've seen it to where the art that you were making maybe was thought of as street. And there was the fine art, there was the gallery art, there was the kind of stuff you see at Art Basel, but now the art that you're making is getting to that point.
Yeah.
We're not just seeing it on the murals on the streets, but we're seeing it in the galleries, and we're seeing it have that, its status is raised, its profile is raised.
Yeah.
Tell me about, as someone that's been in the middle of it, where do you think street art is today?
Well, yeah, it's funny you said that because I was in it before it was even called street art.
Right.
You know? When I began, it was graffiti art. I'm a graffiti artist, you know? And obviously, I've always loved murals, having, being born and raised in LA, walking around East LA, Boyle Heights, seeing all the murals. That was a big influence on me. So when I did graffiti, it was like natural progression that I wanted to do large, colorful things about my culture, about my city. And so now, with street art being such a big thing now, right? Now it's like you said, it's in museums, it's in every city, every country in the world. And it's cool to finally see that acceptance, because when I first started, it was not like that, you know?
Now, talking about when you first started, do you have any stories where maybe, I don't know if you ever hid from the police to do graffiti art,
Statute of limitations.
No, really,
7
do you
years.
have any fun anecdote about that? Because, I'm sure when you started, it wasn't as popular, and then you kind of had to, hide.
It was popular, it just
Well,
wasn't as accepted.
right.
Yeah,
Okay.
it wasn't accepted. And, I always tell people, they always say, well, you've been arrested? They always ask me, I said, I've never been arrested, but, I've been detained. I don't have a record, but I've been stopped or scolded, But, beyond that, things are much different. I started writing, doing graffiti in 1987.
Okay.
All right, so this is so many years later. People are accepting of the art form now. It's a whole different thing. Also, if you are doing hardcore graffiti out there, it's like a felony now. It's not. It's not like.
Wait. What do you mean hardcore graffiti?
If you just tag on someone's window, let's say, and you cause more than $400 damage, that's a felony.
That's vandalism, no?
Yeah. So that's what they.
Not the misdemeanor anymore. It's not like the old days where you used to do it on the subway and the train and all that stuff. The outlaw element was a huge part of what makes, I think, graffiti, at least the history of it, very romantic. But it's cool to see a lot of them now being accepted. It's cool to see graffiti artists being paid to do murals.
Exactly.
By the way, did you hear about this lawsuit about, I don't know who did the lawsuit, but that you can't use someone's street art in a picture that you're then using to sell some product?
Right.
Did you hear about that?
Well, there's actually been a lot of lawsuits around that because people in the commercial world are just appropriating the street art they see around them. They're like, oh, it's graffiti.
It's a cool wall.
So it's
Let's
cool wall.
just use it.
Let's put some models, let's take a picture, and let's make money on it without crediting the artist, without paying the artist.
Terrible.
And so, it happens actually a lot more than you think. But there's laws against that because we have, as artists, we own the work. We have our copyright,
Right.
Have you seen the wall in Austin that it's full of graffiti, it's super famous?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a pretty cool wall. I was there and I took a ton of pictures, but some of the artists were there, but not like.
Yeah, don't stop that. Don't put yourself out there like that.
Yeah. No, but I have some pretty cool pictures about the artists, and then they change them every time.
I think they just sold that place and they're gentrifying the area, so that's gonna be gone.
How do you feel about that though? Because
Let's talk about gentrifying. Go ahead.
Yeah.
well, because a lot of these artists, if they don't get their permits to put their work on certain walls, they get literally whitewashed out, and some of that has happened to your work as well, no?
Yeah, I mean, my murals have been destroyed over the years just because someone didn't like it or.
Just because they didn't like it, not because it wasn't you didn't have a permit for it?
Well, there was no permit process until 2013. So for all those years before that, people, if they complained, they would just say, okay, they would ask the building owner to take it down or whatever. Now there is a permit process through the city, which is a little complicated, but now all my murals, I try to get permits because then it's permanent. They can't just take it down.
At least it's something. Yeah.
It's something, you know, and it
So
protects
what's
my
the
work.
deal when it comes to picking, let's say, the plays that you're going to be painting, and then do you go to the city and ask for permission to do it, or
Well, you start with
what's the process if you're a
yeah.
graffiti artist?
Well, the process, if you want to actually make it a legal permitted wall, you go to the building owner first and get the landlord's permission, the building owner's permission, and then you go to the city and say, okay, I found this wall, and then they have paperwork, and it's like a whole process.
It's the whole process.
It's very strict, very a lot of red tape, but it's worth it, I think.
You're working on a book. Can you tell us about the book that you've been working on?
Yeah, well, I just launched my first illustrated book called Chef Roy Choi and the Street Food Remix, and it's my first book I've illustrated, children's book. We're winning tons of awards. Just came back from Texas. We're up for the Blue Bonnet Award, so it's just I'm really excited to be promoting that.
Awesome. I mean, is that the natural progression ultimately to have your own art book?
I mean, everyone wants their book, right? Because you want to be in the history books, right? Like you want to do. If you want, as an artist, you want to be in the books for the next generation.
Not only that, but I thought it was beautiful that your parents have finally accepted what it is that you do. And can you tell everybody what it is that they thought you were doing when you first started doing graffiti work?
When my dad first found out because my sister, snitched on me, of course. And my dad thought I was gonna be a cholo. He's like, "Hey, you can't be doing, this stuff. What are you in a gang or what are you doing?" And I said, "No, Dad, I'm an artist." And it took a while for me to convince him, but getting my degree in fine art, I think finally finally convinced him.
And you got a great studio in Lincoln Heights.
Yeah, that's
Last thing I want to ask, because gentrification is a big deal right now with Boyle Heights and different parts of the city. I mean, are they starting to encroach in Lincoln Heights, or are you going to stick around? Are you there to stay? What's the deal?
Well, the thing is that, you can't, everything evolves, and what's happening in Lincoln Heights is the same story happening everywhere else. So I'm trying to stay in there as much as I can. I'm painting as many walls so that my art will stay whether or not I stay.
Leave your footprint.
Yeah, you gotta leave your footprint. You gotta leave it on the walls, and hopefully I'll be able to stay a lot longer. But we'll see where it goes.
Last thing, you're not related to Sand One, are you?
Oh. No, she's a good friend though.
Okay, I